have on my list today Joe Bonadies. Joe?
Greetings. First, thank you for updating the survey presentation online to again show that 26% of the survey respondents can't support either proposal. I'm sure it was just an oversight. From the frequently asked questions section, I find it even more interesting that 16% of MPS employees also do not support either proposal. Again, I will mention that you are obscuring the total millage aspect of this upcoming bond. Your recently updated frequently asked questions had that question and the answer was not clear. You blew off the part of their question about total and only answered the part about longevity. So for the public, here's an example. $100,000 taxable home value is going up in taxes from approximately $295 per year to over $600. For those that live paycheck to paycheck, I hope you have an extra $320 available when taxes are due. Moving on, with the inflation likely cooked in near term, I'm having trouble believing you can actually afford to do this for the costs projected. When the vote for the 2015 bond went through with resistance, it was not clear to many, including myself, that you were promising the current and future value of our houses to your creditors. Lastly, there was an election last week. There may be downstream consequences to what happened, all the way to eliminating Department of Education and/or severely restricting DEI programs. And those dollars, like in most districts, are the slush funds that keep you afloat. Please plan accordingly. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address the board?
Okay, sorry about that. My name is Jessica Burdick. I just want to say, out of the 1,600 people that took the community-wide survey from the last meeting on October 21st, it seemed that the MPS School Board refused to accept the feedback that was received from the survey. The data should speak for itself. Scenario A received 49.66% of the community-wide support, where Scenario B only received 4.66%. It's clearly obvious that the community would maybe support Scenario A on the ballot versus Scenario B. Also, loss of opportunities for students, including sports, clubs, music, etc. There would only be one valedictorian instead of two. More competitions for school scholarships, and some kids will miss out on opportunities due to combined enrollment. Also, costs that would increase taxpayers' yearly taxes. Many are struggling financially and cannot honestly pay much more. And then what I didn't get a chance to prepare, at last month's meeting, Kelsey Berkmeyer, I think her name was, did her presentation on the focus panel and survey. And I took a picture of the screenshot instead of trying to fastly write it all down. It was divided in between 4 different categories: a non-parent that does not have children attending attending MPS, a business owner in the public schools district, an elected official residing in the Midland Public School District, and public school employees. Nowhere on there was a parent of a student at Midland Public Schools. So, I mean, obviously, us parents took the picture. Phil Roush, I see you having a questionable look on your face. I have the picture here if you'd like me to bring you my phone.
I believe you. Make sure.
But maybe it got lost in translation. Maybe I didn't understand it clearly, but my picture of her slide does not have a parent input on there. And why wasn't our voices put into that survey and what the parents of the school board wanted, or the parents of the students wanted. That's all I have for you tonight. Thank you.
Anybody else care to address the board? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emily Dixon. I'm PTO president, Woodcrest Elementary, parent of a Jefferson student and a Woodcrest student. And I just asked tonight, as we're looking through these proposals, that we're thinking of how they both help the issues we're seeing now. As I mentioned last month at the meeting that I spoke at, I have a second grader at Woodcrest. Second grade at Woodcrest has 5 sections. She has 23 kids in her class. I didn't dig into numbers at other schools, but I can tell you from past experience, her first grade class had 27, and I know another elementary school, Plymouth or Central Park, had 17 per class. So as we're looking at proposals, thinking not that it's our job to bring people to Midland, it's not, our job as the board or community to build brand new shiny buildings, but these elementary schools that are way too full, Seabert and Woodcrest being the 2 of them, how to level that so kids are getting all the same education, all the same attention, that we're addressing what staffing might look like in either of these scenarios, whereas staffing now is a struggle in these schools, that we are looking at how feasible facility upgrades are in the timeline that is going to be proposed. Because I'll tell you, every elementary school playground in the city of Midland, with the exception of maybe Central Park, is pretty rough and sad. So we're looking at the whole student, which I mentioned last time was the first time I had heard that term. When it comes to outdoor play, we're failing our kids. When it comes to making school of choice a priority above a reasonable class size for parents and for teachers and for students, we're failing. When it comes to just giving the same experience at every single elementary school, the middle schools, the high schools, I can't speak for all 3 levels, but there's work to improve there. So as we're looking at what these proposals can do for our current issues in a reasonable amount of time, I ask that those be the things that we look at instead of trying to appeal to new residents to Midland or that sort of thing. So how we can address those things, and that maybe my second grader at Woodcrest would have a really cool playground by the time before she leaves in a few years. So that's what I ask of tonight, but thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Jennifer Farron, and I'm on here tonight speaking from the Tim Pone Band Board at Northeast. Some of our concerns for the parent band board are the equity in the music education, to make sure that not only do all kids get the chance, but that it doesn't become an issue of only those that can afford private lessons can try out and play. Staffing. Would we lose teachers because they were hired for one thing and now teach different grades? Building space for classrooms. The band rooms are used all day long. They are planning on building 2 band rooms, 2 choir, orchestra rooms to accommodate all the kids who want to play. You would have to purchase new uniforms, rebranding the music programs, signs, clothes, etc. How do you plan to supplement the cost of the music programs that parent groups are currently paying for? Because now they will have to start all over with getting new nonprofit status under different names, which means there could be a gap in funding while we recreate all new groups. Lack of opportunity, because there can only be so many first chairs and drum majors, etc., and there would be a lot more competition that would be increased. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Melissa Buchek. I'm here today to share some data that the community may not be aware of, but it is publicly available as I gathered it from the district and state website. I found it interesting in last month's meeting, as you were reviewing the community survey data, how you faulted the public for not understanding the district's needs, the critical needs. And I hear people here speaking to some of them. I went home and I thought to myself, do you, as the Board of Education, really understand the critical needs? And is it really more real estate projects? From the data, I first want to point out that the MPS district-wide student enrollment has been declining for 15 years. Here's a graph. I don't have somewhere to prop it up right now, but the blue line here is enrollment. And I'll explain a little bit more on the graph in a minute. Looking back to 2015, the last time you had a bond measure, Superintendent Michael Shera wrote an editorial in the Midland Daily News to persuade voters ahead of that vote. He said, MPS, sorry, my thing is scrolling on me. MPS, one second. MPS, prior to the 2015 bond approval, owned 19 buildings. However, as a result of the extensive MPS facility study and student enrollment study done in 2014, we know that 11 MPS buildings will make the district right-sized for the next 12 to 15 years. Following the passage of the 2015 bond, MPS subsequently closed 7 buildings. Now, just 9 years later, you're proposing to ask the public to fund 2 new schools with fewer enrolled students than in 2015. So the question is that fiscally responsible? And why are the MPS schools overcrowded? And one of the previous speakers was just alluding to the fact of school of choice, and all 11 of your school buildings for 2024-25 school year had open seats posted for resident and non-resident students to come in for school of choice. So while I fully support school of choice, I wonder if you're encouraging the overcrowding, perhaps just to increase the head count for more per pupil funding. Back to this graph. I feel this gives you and your voters a good glimpse of how fiscally irresponsible MPS Board of Education has been. In 15 years, per pupil spending has increased 20%, the red line here. While reading proficiency has dropped 17.5%, and as I already said, enrollment's dropped 11%. So why aren't student score and achievement recognized as the critical need? 10 years ago, the MPS Board of Education put the taxpayers on the hook for nearly $300 million bond, and today there's little to show for it. Are you over the wrong target? Thank you.
Thanks.